So today we are going to learn chapter 5, sorry. So if you don't have any questions, let me continue with our lecture for today. So what are we going to learn today? It's about one of the techniques in object-oriented programming, all right? So we already learned about the class diagram. We already learned about the control and repetition statements. And then today you are going to learn one of the concepts of OOP that is called inheritance, all right? It is one of the fundamental object-oriented techniques, and it will show you how we can actually reuse the classes and then how the properties of the classes can be inherited, all right? So, okay. So basically inheritance is allowing the software developer to derive a new class from an existing one. That means if we have one class and then we creating another class, this another class can derive the information, the properties from the previous class. So the existing class is called the parent class or superclass or base class. So if you if you encounter with some of this statement, don't get confused. Okay, sometimes people use parent class, sometimes people use superclass, sometimes people use base class. Basically, it's all the same meaning. Okay, and then the derived class is called the child class or the subclass. That means this derived class, all right, it will inherit all the properties from the existing class. Okay, so what will they inherit? They will inherit the methods, and they will also inherit the data that been defined in the parents class. So, so basically when we use inheritance, okay, it able the software developer to reduce the effort of design, implementation, and also in testing a new software. So this technique, it basically can save time and save costs for the developer. Okay, so now let's show you the relationship, how this relationship between the parents and the class. So when you want to show the relationship between parents class and the child class, you can use the empty arrow pointing to the parent class. So here, person is the parents and students is the child class. So when we're trying to show that students is the child to the person class, we use the empty arrow. It must be pointing to the parents class. And in inheritance is a relationship. That means the child is the most specific version of the parents. Okay, some methods, some methods that define in child class might not have, parents might not have that method. Okay, so child is more specific. So in inheritance, you are going to learn 3 keywords, all right? three keywords to use it. Okay, extends, protected, and super. So let's see about extends keyword first. So actually for extends keywords, it's when we use this keyword, you are actually trying to do the deriving process. Okay, you are trying to deriving subclasses. All right, so when you use this keyword too, you will actually establish the inheritance relationship. All right, for example here, all right, so we have two class here. Okay, we have class person and class student. Okay, so class students wants to derive information from class person. So we have to add extends keyword in the class students. So as you can see here, class student extends person. So that means class students will be the child class, and then class person will be the parents class. So whatever method, whatever properties that been declared in the person class will be derived and also can be accessed by class student. So in representing class diagram, okay, when you want to show the class diagram of after the inheritance, so you can see here. So the person and the student come in the separate classes, right? But when we use the extend statements, extend keyword, so actually the student class will inherit the methods and then the operation from the class person. So as you can see here, it got name string, it got the person, and then it got the get name. So this all inherited from the person class. So now we are going to understand further about the access modifier. Okay, so for now, you already learned about public and private modifier. All right. So actually, as we know, modifier determine which class members are accessible and which are not. So as we know, public will be accessible and private will be unaccessible. So for inheritance situation, we will use protected modifier. So what is protected modifier? So protected modifier is actually allows member of a base class to be accessible only in a child class. So that means if you use the protected modifier in the parents class, so only the parent's child can use that specific method. Okay, so the protected visibility provides more encapsulation than public visibility does. Okay, and then protected variables and method are shown with the hash symbol preceding them in the UML diagram. So that means if you are trying to show that you are using protected modifier when you're sketching the UML diagram, you can use the hash symbol. So let's take a look at the example here. So we have the class, the person class and the student class. And then the student class is the child, and the person class is the parents. Okay, as you can see here, the class in class person here, we are defining the method using the protected modifier. Okay, so protected string name, protected person, and protected string get name. So that means all of these methods are only exclusively accessible by this class. Okay, for example, if the parents have multiple classes, okay, for example, it have another class student 2, and then also extends person. So that means class student and class student 2 will have the ability to access methods from class persons. Okay, when parents can have multiple child classes. So when you are trying to show the you are using the protected modifier in your UML diagram, what you need to do is using the hash symbol. So it's showing that these specific properties are inherited from the parents with the protected modifier. All right. So, okay, and then for private modifier. So, if you declare private modifier in the parents class, it is not accessible even to the child class. Okay, when you use the private modifier, it's only accessible within the same class. It cannot be accessible out of the class, even it's its own child. Okay, so the class student here cannot access the methods in the class person because all the methods are declared as private. So now, how are you going to show if you are using the private modifier? So you can show that there are no inheritance, there are no properties inherited in the student class. So it means that the persons have declared all private method. So these are the differences, okay? The differences between the protected and private. As you can see, when you use protected, it will be inherited by the child class. And if you use private, it will not be inherited by child class, all right? Okay, so public is, so let's recap so that you can understand. So public member is accessible to any method. Private member, only accessible methods belongs to the same class. And then for the protected, it's accessible only to the methods that belong to the same class or to the descended class. Okay, the descended class here means the child class. Okay, it is inaccessible to the method of an unrelated class. So if it's not child to this particular class, it cannot access that specific method. Okay, so now it's just showing you the effect of the tree visibility modifier. So if we have a superclass here, okay, superclass, subclass, okay, superclass have declared one public method. So the superclass public method will be accessible by the subclass too. On the other hand, if the superclass also define the private method, it will not be accessible. Private method only accessible within the superclass. So now we have the third keywords. Okay, the third keywords that you are going to learn today is super. Okay, how are we going to use super in OOP? Okay, so super keywords can be used to refer to the parent's class. Okay, and often is used to invoke the parent's constructor or method. So you are using this super keyword specifically to get the method from the parent's class. So a child constructor is responsible for calling the parent's constructor. Okay, it will not be like automatically assigned. Okay, if the child class wants to use the parent's method, the child you have to include it in the child class constructor. And then the first line of child constructor can be super keyword to call the parent's constructor. And then the super keyword can also be used to reference other variables and methods defined in the parent's class. So how are we going to write it? Okay, we can use super and then bracket in order to call the constructor from the parent's class. And then to call the specific constructor, you must provide the appropriate arguments to the super. Okay, if you just provide super and then empty bracket, so there's no argument. So when there is a call super with zero argument like this, so the parent's constructor with zero argument is called. Okay, there will be no return value. But if there is no parent's constructor with zero argument, a compiler error will occur. So you must include an appropriate arguments when you use the super keywords to call the parent's constructor. Okay, so when used, you must place super with bracket in the first line of the constructor of the child class. Okay, and then if you write a constructor that has no super keyword, the compiler insert a call to the parent's class constructor automatically with no argument. Okay, and then if so, how are you going to access this parent's method from the child class? What you have to do is, this is how you need to write it. Super dot, and then what is the parent's method? Okay, call the parent's method after the dot. So this is an example. Okay, the first example here, you can see here, this is super and then empty bracket with no no parameter, so it's actually just an argument. So, and then second one is super name. Okay, super name is the parameter matching. It match from the child class to the parents class. So when you are trying to access the parents method using the super keyword, this is how you should do. Okay, when you trying to get the value, so you write super dot get name. So since the class student already the child to class parents, because we can see here class student extends person, that means class students is the child to the class parents, so it can easily access, because the method defined here also protected, and then it is accessible by the child class. So you can write super dot get name to access the specific method from the parents class.
Madam.
Yes.
Yang ni kan, yang super ni yang dia boleh access untuk yang same kelas ataupun yang kita buat satu kelas yang lain, maksudnya yang new page.
Satu kelas yang lain. Satu kelas yang lain yang dia anak kepada the main class tu. So you have to remember, kalau you guna super ni, you have to be the child to the parent. So what you have to do, you have to use this keyword, the extend. So that means class student is the child and class person is the parents. And then you must also remember the modifier. when you define the modifier, if you have to define it as protected or public, then it will be accessible. If you define private here, even you use super.getName here in the class student, you cannot access it. So you have to use the correct modifier when you're designing your code. Understand?
Okay.
Okay. So now in inheritance OOP, there are two concepts. Okay, there will be overriding and there also be overloading. Okay, so what is actually overriding methods? Okay, a child class can override the definitions of an inherited method in favor of its own. Okay, that means the child class can inherit the method that already declared in the same class, and then the new method must have the same signature, which is the name and parameter, as the parent's method, but can have a different body, which is the implementation. And then a parent method can be invoked explicitly using the super reference as we discussed earlier. And then if a method is declared with final modifier, it cannot be overridden. So let's see in the example here how the overriding methods works in Java OOP. Okay, so we have two methods here. One is in the parents class, which is protected string getName, and it will return name. And then in the child class, we have the public string getName, and then it will return super.getName. So the getName method here in student class have different implementations from the getName methods in persons class. Okay, so you can see here same name but different kind of implementation. And then the concept of overriding can be applied to data and is called as hiding or shadowing the variables. But it should be avoided because it tends to cause unnecessarily confusing code. So it is not advisable to keep on using the same name or for multiple methods. It might cause the confusing when you try to run the program. So this is how the hiding or the shadowing works. So we have here the class person, and then we define the method protected string name equal to Nadal. So that means this method will be accessible to its child. Okay, and then we have class student extends person, and then we have three methods. Okay, we have all private methods, and then we have the same name method, which is private string name equal to Federer. And then we also have another class, which is the class student app. This class student app is not the child because it didn't extend from person. Okay, so it's a standalone class. So in this class, it defines the new student. So when you get the output, it shows the output equal to Federer. So that means it only print the output from the child class. Okay, it already shadow the Nadal's name that been defined in the parents class. So that is how the hiding or shadowing works in the OOP. So, and then about the overloading. Okay, so sometimes we get confused when we encounter this problem between overloading and overriding. Okay, so actually it's a difference between these two. Okay, overloading is multiple methods in the same class. That's what you have to remember. Multiple methods in the same class, but it has different signatures. And then overriding, two methods, one in parents, one in child class that has same signature, like the previous slide that I showed. So actually overloading will let you define a similar operation in different ways for different data. And then the overriding lets you define a similar operation in different ways for different object type. Okay, let's take a look at the example here. Okay, so we have overloading and overriding example here. So you see here we have class orangutan. Okay, class orangutan here, there are two methods. Okay, two methods but have the similar name. Okay, public string orang and then public string orang string name. So that is how we use overloading. And then meanwhile, overriding, it's the class with the same name but is the method with the same name but in two separate class. As you can see in the class person here, which is the parents, and then the class student here, which is the child class. So now I'm going to explain a little bit about the class hierarchy. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, the child class can inherit all the properties and methods from the parents class, right? So what if the parents have multiple child classes? So, and then yes, if the parents have child 1, child 2, it will be inherited by both. All the methods from the parents class will be inherited by both childs. So the common feature should be put as high in the hierarchy as is reasonable. And then the inherited member is passed continually down. So and then another example is if you have 3 different level of classes. Okay, we have parents, and then we have child 1, and then below child 1 we have child 2. So actually child 2 will be able to access the properties from child 1 and also the parents. Okay, so therefore, as mentioned here, child class will inherit from all its ancestor classes. That's actually what it means. And then an inherited member can be referenced directly by name in the child class. Like we learned earlier, you have to refer to the, you can refer using those keywords as we learned. So if you want to call the methods, you can just use super, and then you can, to derive a child, you can use the extends keywords. Okay, but even if a method or variable is not inherited by a child, it can still be accessed indirectly through parent method. This means if you use the private modifier. So if you use private modifier, all the method will not be able to, cannot be accessed by the child, but it can still be used within the parent methods. Okay, all right, I think that's all for the class today about inheritance concept in OOP. So do you have any questions? Or do you have any questions related to your assignment 1? No?
Madam.
Yes?
Wait, I forgot what question I want to ask already. Wait, madam, sorry.
Is it about the class today or is about the assignment?
Assignment, madam.
Okay.
Madam,
Yes.
in the assignment, right, the main class just only to print out all the result and like key in input only, right? And then for the other subclass is a function for like the condition of
Yes.
the variable like that, is it?
Yes. Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
And then,
Thank you, madam. Yes, madam.
and then to get a full mark, okay, to get a full mark, remember all, I want it to be like minimum 3 classes, okay, minimum 3 classes including the main class. So if you have one main class and then you have 2 more other classes, so there will be 3 classes. So if you want to get a full mark, you have to minimum use 3 classes.
Okay. Note, madam.
Any
Thank you,
other?
madam.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Madam, may I know the loop for the looping, right? If
Mm.
I like want to compare the two different class like comparison to find out the result to find out the output like
Mm-hmm.
the status,
Mm-hmm.
uh then I can do it in many class, right? Like compare if
To do the comparison and you want to access the information from the other class too, you can do in main.
thank you, madam.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, if we don't have any other questions, I think that's it for today. Since a lot of you, I think some of you didn't attend, so I will upload the video on YouTube channel too, and then you will be able to refer. There's also videos from other sections because I'm teaching 2 sections, right? If you want to refer to other sections, lecture or lab, you will be able to access to in our YouTube channel. So if there's no questions, that's it for today. And good luck with your assignment 1. Make sure submit on time. Okay, remember, when is the due date?
2nd of December, madam.
Yeah, 2nd of December. All right. Um, no attendance, no attendance links today. I forgot to create. Thank you, Warda, for reminding me. So let me create the attendance link for you guys. No. Okay, there's still somebody wants to join us. Sure. Days today. 27. 7, 11, 20. Okay, I'm sharing it with you guys now. Can you access it? The attendance link?
Okay, madam, can.
You can access? Okay. All right. Is there any other questions related to assignment?
So
Actually,
far, no, madam.
No. Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, if you have any questions or if you want to have a one-to-one discussion with me, feel free to contact me. Okay, we can have a Google Meet discussion. Like so, don't feel hesitant to communicate with me. All right, we can discuss whatever problem you have.
Madam,
Yes.
kan apa nama assignment 1 dengan assignment 2 kan ada berkait kan.
Hmm.
So kalau contohlah assignment 1 ni ada macam part yang tak boleh buat kan, ada chapter sampai chapter 4 aja kan.
Hmm.
So yang assignment 2 tu kalau kita beki balik yang first punya assignment tu boleh ke?
Boleh baik.
Agak lama.
As long as assignment 1 ni, I want to see you don't submit to me with a program that is not working. You have to submit a working program, okay? And then if you want to, if it's not working, you're gonna lose some marks lah. As I mentioned in the rubric, right? As I mentioned in the rubric, there's a part that working. If the program has to be working. So if you submit a program that is not working, so you're gonna lose some marks. But of course you can fix it, but you will not get a full mark for assignment 1. So remember, assignment 1 is 15%. That's a lot of contribution to your total carry marks. So yeah. Any other questions? No? Okay, so if there's no other questions.
Sorry, madam. Last question. Sorry, madam. About the coding, right? Like if I do the code is working, but if I want to edit again after the due date, then I can edit again in assignment 2. May I?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay.
Of course, you can edit and improvise. You know, make your code looks better for assignment 2. Of course, you can do that.
Thank you, madam.
You're welcome. Okay, so all right. So make sure fill out the attendance link. I already shared in the chat room. If you have no question, that's all for today, and I will upload this video on YouTube so that you can refer in future. Okay, bye everyone and have a good day.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, doctor.
You're welcome.